by sharing this with you. If you don't see it, you don't want to do something to have more time in your life, it's okay, you don't need to do this. It's not for everybody. So if you go in thinking that you got to recruit every person, you're going to get upset when people don't join or tell you a reason. I don't care. I tell them I would love for you to join, but I tell people this is a numbers game. I know a percentage say yes, a percentage say no. So if you don't want to do it, that's totally okay, John, because I know the next person I meet is going to join. So I appreciate taking the 30 minutes out and looking at it. You got my number. If you ever change your mind, give me a call.
I had a friend, I've known him for years,
Right.
and I gave him the website, he watched it, and he called me and he says, I get it. He says, I get it. He said, I just don't have the time. So I'm a single father, working. He says, I'm coaching football. He says, I'm trying to buy a house, I don't have the time. And I just said, all right, cool, I'm being a customer.
And I would just walk away. I really would.
Well, Mike, you made a good point before, and basically I use it in my time for you. The one who asks the questions controls the conversation, like you said.
Yeah.
When somebody says to me, I don't have the time, I flip it back to them, and I ask them, like, how much time do you need? And I shut up. Because they don't know, right? They really don't know. Because realistically, how much time does it say, hey, do me a favor, hey, look, just give me your opinion, 30 seconds. Right?
Yeah. And you could always share somebody else's. You could say at that point, you could say, I understand, your concerns about not having time, but there's this guy, Mike Obay, Showroom Magazine. He used to work 110 hours a week. Mike was able to find time for it. He was working 100 hours a week in 7 businesses. Now you got to see the guy. He's with his kids all the time. Ambit Energy has given him all the time that he wants. So you could tell his story. I think it's different where I am in business to where you are at this point, where I'm not afraid to walk away, because I'm constantly showing so many people that they don't see it and get it. I just keep moving on. And believe me, you'll be shocked. I've had, I think, about 75 people now who told me no, want the time to do it, call me back 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years later, and join. So many people will watch you first and want to see. They want to see how you do, because they want to be the ones when you fail to say, oh, I made the right decision. I knew it wasn't going to work. People don't want to see you having success. They don't. They won't. If their success level is here, they're okay with you being here. Once you get up to where they are or higher, that's when they start hating on you, and so they don't want to see you surpass them. So people are going to watch you. I can't tell you how many people have contacted me. I don't reach back out to nobody. Once I show it to somebody and they tell me, well, it's not for me, I don't have the time to do it, I never ever call them back ever again. I just, if they're friends, yes, but not about Ambit. Not about Ambit. I don't mention Ambit ever again. And over 70-something people have contacted me back. They said, Mike, I should have listened to you 5 years ago. Is it too late to get started? And Ambit, nope, let's get going.
That happened when we were in Dallas this past week.
Yeah.
My cousin saw it a year ago. I didn't mention it when I visited him on Sunday, and no conversation about it, but he brought it up and said, I'm ready to get started.
Yeah.
Because he saw where I was last year and where I am today.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
I'm telling you, more people, I'm telling you, over the next 5 years, another 100-something people will come back to me. People that I show them, and they will watch. People call me up for a mortgage. Like, I'm not doing mortgages no more. Really? You were doing so good. Remember that energy thing I showed you? I mean, that's got me out of the mortgage business. And that's all it is, just keep doing it. The longer you're in it, the more people will come back. And if you're approaching a new person, they say, how long are you doing it? The longer you could say, if I'm doing it 7 years, now they really know, okay, it must be working. Why would this guy be doing something for 7 years if it wasn't working, he wasn't getting paid? So the longer you're doing it, makes things easier too. What were you saying?
I was going to say, a lot of times when people talk about it, they just don't have the time, or you were saying earlier about the magazine. I'm guilty. I don't read the success stories in the magazine. So I don't utilize the magazine the way I should. But a situation like that, you find someone who has no time, and they've turned their life around based with Ambit, and then you can show them that and say, look, here's a person in the same situation you were in. Had no time at all, but look what he did. You know, so that's back to that magazine, it's just vital that we utilize that and get to
You know,
know that
all
magazine.
different years I have in my,
Yeah.
I mean, they're worn, because I've shown them so many times. I know that we're constantly telling stories. Stories is what, the video is great, but I think it's more of the stories that I tell that relate to them, which gets them in, and they can visualize themselves being in that person's shoes. So a time story, talk about my story. But don't ever beg people. If you sound desperate like you're begging, they're probably not gonna join. Just have an attitude like you'd love for them to join the team, but you don't care, but you're doing it with them or without them. You start changing the way that you act, the way you walk, the way you talk, it's totally different. It's just having that confidence and having that posture, you know, knowing what you got something amazing, amazing. And if they tell me no, I pat them on the back, I say, I wish you luck, whatever you're doing, and I don't look back. And some people stop me right then and there, all right, I changed my mind, I'm in, or they'll call me a day later, they'll call me a week later, I don't care. That's why, getting back to where, for a three-way call, I don't do as many three-way calls. Because once that, I know halfway through my presentation if they're in or not. I can tell from their body language, from their reaction. I've done so many presentations, I know if they're in or not. If they're not coming to me at the end, because I'm pre-selling them. I'm telling them my story. I'm telling them I'm here to help you. I show another person in the magazine that's similar to their story. And if they're not jumping at this, I don't want them in my business. I could have recruited a lot more than 275 people if I wanted to. But there's a lot of people that I talk out of it. It really is. People that say, all right, I'm going to give it a try. Well, hold on a second. Okay, you're going to just give this a try? If you're just going to give it a try, then don't even bother. I want somebody that sees it and gets it and wants to do it. I say my time is valuable. So if you're just going to give this thing a try, I don't care about, I tell them, I don't care about your $500 bonus I get, whatever, I don't care about that. I'm looking to make a long business relationship with somebody that I can put my time into and help. So if you're just going to give this a try, then I don't even sign to become my customer. And I talk people out of it sometimes. I can't afford to waste my time. There's so many people out there who are in ambit, raising their hand, saying, I need to make this work bad. I'd rather go help those people than help the person who's going to give it a try. You know, so I'm going to spend some time with this person, teaching him, training him, and the guy's going to quit in a week. I don't want that. I want somebody that has a strong reason why, that they need to make this work, and they have to do whatever it takes to go out there and do it. I mean, recruiting is simple for me at this point, but I turn so many away. So I know right away if they're going to do it or not. You know, and going into it, a three-way call. So I know right then and there, if I don't think that they're going to do it, I'll just end the conversation and just get out of there. I don't want to waste more time sitting there for another 30 minutes trying to talk to them and trying to convince them and beg them and just waste my time. I'd rather go be with my kids and doing something, or go on another appointment. But if I do need to get a three-way call down, I mean, I pretty much know ahead of time if I'm going to use Ray. Like, I might talk about Ray first. I'll show people, you know, hey, I learned this business. I said I used to know ice cream and mortgages and real estate. I came into this business knowing nothing, and how I became successful is I had mentors in the business. I had these two guys. You don't need to be on the cover. I said, I had these two guys here, Ray Monty and Brian McClaw. These guys taught me the whole entire business. I said, I went to these guys in the beginning and basically told them, guys, I know ice cream, I know mortgages, I know real estate, I know nothing about energy or network marketing. I said, I'm going to be a great student, teach me. And these guys taught me the business, and that's how I got to national consultant, and they helped me every single step of the way. And so if the person has a question, I'm going to say basically the truth. I mean, I pre-framed them. So once I'm done, I'll get Ray or Brian on the phone. I'll say, hey, listen, just like I got introduced to the business, I had Ray get on the phone and answer questions. Let me get Ray on the phone just to show you the same exact way that I did it, and I'll put Ray on the phone. But I'm always talking about an experience or a story of that person that I'm going to get on the phone. It makes it easier to get somebody on the phone if they know a little bit about the person and what that person's call has done for you. It just makes it simpler. Everything is simplicity. The more simple you make every single step of the way, the easier the process is for every person.
when you're showing the video, and the person has a question, how do you basically tell them, hold the questions?
I tell them
until-
before the video starts. I say I'm gonna put on a 20-minute video. When I go to meet somebody, I'm telling them I need them for 30 to 40 minutes time. So I'm not selling myself short. I'm always getting more than enough time. When I sit down with them, I'm very professional. You know, I'll talk to them a little bit quick, then I pretty much get right to the point. I tell my story. I point out another story in the magazine that relates to them. And I say, John, I'm gonna put on a video in a minute. It's a 17-minute video. I say, you're probably gonna have some questions, but most of your questions will get answered throughout the video. But if you do have any questions, we'll answer them at the end, which is no problem. So let them know how long the video is gonna be. Let them know if they have questions, they'll probably get answered in the video. But if not, we'll come back to them at the end, just hold them until the end. Now, when I sit there and I watch that presentation with people, and I've tested this, I sit there and I watch that video with them like it's the first time I'm watching it. My eyes are glued to that TV set or that computer monitor, and I'm watching it excited as can be. I'm on the edge of my chair, I'm watching it, and it does excite me, it does motivate me, seeing it, how it's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I've tested things. If you pick up your phone and text, they're gonna pick up their phone and text. If you stand up and walk, they're gonna probably stand up and walk. If you start looking out the window, they're gonna start looking out the window. If you sit there like this and you watch that video for 20 minutes straight, they will watch it exactly like you do, and that's what I do. I watch it with them like it's the first time I'm seeing it. I tested all these things. It's so funny how it works. If I don't touch my phone, they don't touch their phone.
What about if you're not sitting with them and you're doing, leaving them on, making the appointment on the computer?
I'll just finish that, I'll get to that. So another thing, if I'm watching that video with somebody, let's say I'm not touching my phone, and I watch them stop paying attention, I shut the laptop and I start walking away.
Say that again?
If I'm showing somebody a video presentation, and I'm taking time out of my schedule, away from my kids, and I'm driving for them to show them something, and I'm watching the video, if they start not paying attention or walking away from it or something, I shut the laptop and I start packing up. Like, what are you doing? I'm out of here. I'm taking time away from my children to come here and show you something. If you don't have enough decency and respect to sit here and watch this, then I don't need you as a business partner. You watch how quick they change their attitude. That person's probably joining. But you gotta have that attitude about you. You know, don't let somebody bully you around, do what you want. If not, I'm out. Leave. Walk away. I had people chase me down in parking lots, begging, I'm sorry, I really do want to see it, and I maybe give them one more shot, but just have the attitude that you got the greatest thing in the world. You would love for them to join, but if they don't, it's their loss and you don't care. Stop thinking like that. If you go in like begging and seem desperate for them, they're not looking at you as a leader or somebody somebody wants to be with a strong, confident person. And just by having those qualities, it's going to help recruit more and more people. So basically, I try to meet as many people as I can face to face. It increases my numbers of recruiting so much face to face for several reasons, because they see me taking the time to go and meet with them. I could point out stories on the magazine that relate to them. I put the video on, I'm in control of it. You know, if the doorbell rings, I could pause the video. If the kids come in the room yelling and screaming, Mommy, Daddy, I could pause the video. And I get right back to it. At the end, I can do another story and a 3-way call. That's why I choose to meet people face to face. If you gave me an option to show 20 people over a website, or to meet 5 face-to-face, I'm gonna take 5 face-to-face. Because I'm gonna get a very good percentage of those 5, and then at that point I can give them a magazine and give them a DVD and help getting them move quicker into action. If you can't get to somebody face-to-face, I have a video on YouTube that talks about it, how to properly get somebody to look at a website video. I never give out my website link until that person is sitting in front of a computer and I have 30 minutes time put aside. So if the person lives in California, obviously I can't, and if the person was like a big time network marketing guy, I probably would hop on a plane and go to California to sit down. And I drove 7 hours to Rochester each way to sit down with one person. And that one person became a senior who brought me 3 more seniors, who got me 4 of my 5 seniors that got me to executive consultant from one trip to Rochester, 7 hours, that I was a big business owner. So I said, hey, if I just send them a video, there's a decent chance I'll get him. But if I go up there and show this guy how serious I am, he knows I'm serious for making the trip. He signed up right then and there. He said, by you coming up here, it really showed me that you're serious about this and you're the guy I want to do business with. So he got started. His brother became a senior. Dominic became a senior. I got a whole bunch of them from that one group. If the person if they don't live near you, basically I do my same invite over the phone, whatever invite it might be. Once they say yes, the options are open to making money, I'll say, okay, John, are you buying a computer right now? I am, okay. Do you have 30 minutes time right now? Yeah, I do. Okay, then I give them the website. If they don't have both, if they're not buying a computer or don't have 30 minutes, I don't give them a website at all. I only give out my website link when they're in front of a computer with 30 minutes time. So if John says, well, right now I'm buying a computer, but I'm at work and I don't have 30 minutes. Okay. All right, John, so when will you be buying a computer with 30 minutes time? How does tonight work? Does 7 o'clock work or does 8 o'clock sound better? If you just say, when works for you, they're probably going to say, I don't know, why don't you give me a call next week or something like that. But I think if you give them only 2 choices, what works better for you? Tonight at 8 or tonight at 9? They'll usually pick one of those times. Or does tonight work at 9 or how about tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.? They'll probably pick one of those times. If you just leave it open, they'll probably say, next week or something like that, or they'll never pick a time. So I don't give them that option. I say, what works best? Tonight, how about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? And I'll usually pick one of the 2. 9 o'clock, right, I'll call you at 9 o'clock sharp. Just make sure you buy a computer, make sure you have 30 minutes time put aside. So I'm prepping them on what to expect. So now I call them back 9 o'clock on the dot, and I have an alarm go off. I have 2 different things that alert me to call this guy back. 9 o'clock on the dot, his phone is ringing. 8:59 and 50 seconds, I have his number up there ready to hit send. 9 o'clock on the dot, his phone's ringing. I'm always on time when I call people. I'm showing them that I mean business with this.
Mike, what about inviting to business presentations, local business presentations?
I really don't. I choose to meet people face-to-face, one-on-one first. You gotta think, what's the least resistance? Think about it. You have a meeting in your area at the Holiday Inn in Danbury, where I'm just making up a place. That person, you're not really telling them much about it. They know it's a business opportunity with energy. That's all you're really telling them. Now you're trying to say, well, hey, I want you to drive 30 minutes to come to this meeting at a hotel. They don't know what to expect. They don't know if somebody's going to be at the back doors, blocking off the doors, trapping them in there until they buy something. So they don't know. That's why you're going to have a lot more people tell you no to go into a meeting. I do things where I have the greatest chance of the person saying yes. So just here's 2 scenarios. One scenario is I call up John, hey John, I started a business, do you keep your options open? Yes. Oh great, listen, Tuesday at 7:30, and now Tuesday 7:30, I'm only giving them 1 hour as an option, right? So if Tuesday 7:30 doesn't work for them, now you're gonna try maybe next Tuesday. So now a whole week has gone by. So you're only giving them 1 hour to look at this presentation. They gotta drive 30 minutes each way, so an hour presentation, so it's at least 2 to 3 hours at a time to go into an environment where they know nothing about it. I'm not downplaying the meetings, and I'll get to it in a second. That's one way. The other way is, John, hey, I started a part-time business. Do you keep your options open? Yes. Great, John. Are you home right now? I'll swing by. I'll grab some coffee or I'll grab some beers. We don't have a greater chance at the person saying yes. Coming to them. And well, John said, well, right now is no good. I'm putting the kids to bed. Okay, I'll come at 9 o'clock. I'll come at 10 o'clock. I'm coming where it's convenient for that person. So that's my first step. So my first step is it's not the presentation, it's not the 3-way call, it's not the close, It's getting the person to accept, to take time out of their schedule to meet with you. So I do things that give me the least resistance. So I go to people. I still go to meetings all the time. So now, once I show the presentation to somebody, they sign up, great. Hey, now that you're in, we do a meeting every Tuesday in Danbury, come out there. And they come out there either way. They come out there, they meet more people, hear stories, get more motivated. And, you know, from those meetings and hotel presentations, they hear about an ambition event or a simulcast event, and they'll want to go out there because they meet like-minded people and they'll keep them motivated. So I'm always at meetings. Now, if the person watches the video presentation and they're on the fence, you know, they don't have the time, you could do a three-way call, and once they're on the fence, you could then say, well, I know I showed you the 20-minute video, I know you're still right there, and you know, take as much time as you want thinking about it, but before you make a final decision, why don't you come out and see what we do as a group? You know, we do a meeting every Tuesday at the Holiday Inn in Danbury. Why don't you come out and see what we do as a group, live? You'll see some other, if he's a doctor, I'll say, hey, there's some other doctors there in the room, you know, there's an orthopedic surgeon, there's a dentist, there's other people there. Why don't you come out and see what we do as a group before you make a final decision? Now, the meeting is a final validation step. So now, if that person watches a video and they're on the fence, and then you get them to a live meeting, 90% of them will probably join. Because now they know it's not just you and them in the video. Now they go to see all these people here at a meeting, all professional people, stay-at-home moms, and now it makes it more real. So that's my approach. Take the meeting to the person, because it gives me the highest percentage, the highest chance of getting them to say yes to an appointment. Or there'll be the people that'll tell you, yeah, I'll be there Tuesday in Danbury, and you drive into Danbury and you're there, where is this guy? He had never had an intention on going there in the first place. He just told you yes to be nice. He never had any intentions on going. So, try going to the people first. Go to the people's house, go to their office, go to a coffee shop, go somewhere close to them where it's convenient for them. That's all you got to think about in the beginning. It's not about what presentation I'm showing them, who's doing my closing call. The first thing is, how do I get this person to agree to an appointment and actually get them to show up? And that's why I go to people's houses. I go right to them where it's convenient, and a lot of times I try to get the husband and wife there together. It makes it even better, so they both see at the same exact time, and most of my people sign up right there on the spot. Even that when it was $4.29. When it's free or $75, it's even easier to get them to join on the spot.
I have something to say about the husband and wife team watching it together, because I had a golden opportunity that I let go because of the fact that the husband was away on a business trip. The wife saw it, liked it, but needed to talk to her husband. And I think that if they would have been there together, seeing the video, it wouldn't have been another, push me off. And then when I call back, she says, oh, my husband thinks it's a scam, it's a pyramid, and it's because she knew the name, he probably Googled it, and then I said, okay, well, tell me, she says, well, if you maybe call him and talk to him. So I said, well, when would be a good time? Well, he's, back in town on Wednesday, and she doesn't answer the phone. I've tried her home phone, I've tried the cell. Now I'm thinking,
Because things were set up the wrong way. So if I show a husband or a wife, only one of them, and he said, I want to talk to my other spouse, I'll try right then and there to say, I'll come back and show the other person. Let me handle it. Or I'm going to give them a magazine with a video, and I'm going to say, hey, Mayor, just like I showed you the presentation, show your husband the exact same way, because she probably went to him and tried to explain it. Hey, I met this lady, and it's a company called Ambit, and you got to go out there and save people money, and then you got to go out there and recruit people and build a team. And right away he's like, I'm not doing one of those things. And he never watched the presentation. So I tell people, I know you like it. If you want to show him the right way, let me come back and let me do it, or if not, show them the presentation, show them the video in the magazine, and get me on the telephone right away. So I try to meet both at the same time if I can. If not, you gotta try to explain to them what they have to do in order for them. So that's exactly what happened. She went to him.
Yeah.
So I met this lady, and this is what she said, and this. She's like, it's one of those things. I'm not. But he never seen. I guarantee you, still to this day, he's never seen the presentation.
No, I
He
think
hasn't.
you're right. And the thing is they have an electric bill that's $500 to $700 a month. They're the highest in their neighborhood, and she's outgoing and knows a ton of people.
Well-
And I just feel like my pearl.
They might come back. So if you keep doing ambit and have success, they'll watch you. And if you see her often?
Not really.
No. I mean, you could.
And now she's avoiding my calls, so.
Yes, I would just. But now you're at a point where you seem desperate. Would Donald Trump be calling somebody over and over and over on a business, on a real estate deal? No, he would not. He wouldn't be
It was
in
just
town.
one day, it was just one day that I called, and then.
Yeah, I wouldn't call back.
I haven't.
Maybe call back in 6 months when they make some new announcement or a new state or something. Just say, hey, just want to touch base and just fill you in on what's going on right now. And that's it. Not trying to recruit it, just let them know what's going on.
Well, I do have a pair of her sneakers that I need to give back.
There you go.
But
that's-
she, and if you do meet her, she is expecting you 100% for you to pitch her on ambit again. Don't say nothing. I wouldn't say nothing unless she brings it up. That she's expecting you to say something. So you got to do the opposite. Everything I do, it's a lot of stuff is reverse psychology. With this, you got to do it the opposite, because people expect every day somebody's going to pitch them and sell them on something. You got to be the total opposite of that.
Right, one of my friends said that, I'll go to the beach with you, but I don't want to hear about ambit. She just, and this is another person, constantly complains about her job and paycheck to paycheck and
Right, so
how
then
miserable she
And
is.
you tell her, I don't want to hear you constant complaining. There you go.
Don't hear about your whining.
Say hello, listen, I'm trying to offer you a solution to help your problems.
Right.
If you don't want to take it, then shut up. I don't want to hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I did.
Say, listen, I want to be around positive, happy people who are going to motivate me, so listen, I can't talk to you anymore. I tell some people like that, you're so negative. And that's another thing with recruiting. If you have to be a positive, likable person, it's 85%, if not more, about you, and it's 15% about that presentation video. The video doesn't mean that much. People don't buy into companies, they buy into people. And that's what I do a very good job at, is getting people to believe in me and want to partner up with me. So I'm selling myself. It's more of anything. The video is good, the magazine is good, but they believe me. You'll never hear a negative word come out of my mouth. Everything is positive. I'm complimenting people. I'm trying to lift them up and inspire them to make them want to be around me. Because if you're out there just negative, if you're complaining about things in life, oh my gosh, there was so much traffic today going into work, and this happened, and that happened. People are like, oh my, I just can't deal with this. You know, people might like the video, but they say, you know what, the video is great, looks like a great opportunity, but I can't be around her all the time, or I can't be around him. He's always complaining, he's always moaning and groaning about something, and they pass just on that alone. So they say, I can't have this in my life. And so you gotta be a person that people wanna be around, and you gotta just become a likable person. That's 90%, 85, 90% of the battle is becoming that person.
I'll touch on that subject. Yesterday, I helped another roofer move. And he said, Pat, I watched it. I'm gonna watch it again. When I settle down, I'm gonna sign up next week. He said, Pat, I trust you. And he was a Marine for 15 years. He said, if you scam me, I'm shooting you in the leg. But I trust you, so I believe. And basically, that's what it was. The relationship I have with him is actually bringing him in.
attitude, everything about you. People have to want to do business with you. I'm telling you, that's such a huge help to your business. What other questions we have?
What about your chicken list?
There's different ways to approach them. I mean, sometimes it's when you have fears of something, and your greatest breakthrough will come when you face those fears. You realize it's not as bad as you thought. Sometimes you gotta just do it one time, and then you realize it's not that bad. It was like me with speaking. I never spoke to a group of 2 people. I was scared as anything. I'll tell you how I did overcome. I'll get to that. I speak now in front of thousands of people, and I love it because I'm helping people. My thing is I'm just helping people in their business. So what I'm saying can maybe change somebody's life. So I feel good about doing it. So I was petrified of speaking. So I'm at an event, I guess, I don't know, only 6 months into the business in Long Island, about 300 people were at the event, and I'm sitting there in the audience, and Ray Monty starts talking about some guy. He's saying, well, there's this guy who's, just killing his business. He got promoted to senior real quick. The guy had all these challenges in life, working all these hours, multiple businesses. Man, that guy sounds like me. What are you talking about? And he's like, Mike Obay, come on up here. I'm like, what? Did he say me? I'm like, oh. And I was going to have a heart attack walking up there, but I got up there and he said, hey, just tell everybody they want to hear your story. They want to hear what you do. And so I got up there and just touched on my story. Hey, here's what's going on in my life. I'm working all these hours. Somebody showed me Ambit. I'm going out there and just sharing the opportunity with people. And I spoke for a minute or 2, just on my story, my experience. And I had such a positive reaction from people in the audience. Everybody came up to me, oh my gosh, that's an amazing. You're giving me hope. You're giving me, and I felt, wow. I'm helping other people by sharing my story and stuff. And I'm like, wow, that made me feel good. And I said, you know what? It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And if Ray told me, hey, you coming Saturday to talk? I would have made any, oh, my cat's not feeling good. I have to the vet. I would have made I don't even have a cat. I would have made any excuse not to go there. And that would have been the truth. And I thanked him afterwards. I pulled him aside. I said, Ray, I want to thank you for that. Because, again, I would not have done it if you told me to come. But because you forced me to do it, I stepped out of my comfort zone a little bit, but I realized it wasn't as bad as I thought. And I'm helping people, which made me feel good about it. So then I went from a minute, 2-minute little talk to a 3-4 minute talk, to a 5-minute talk, to a 10-minute talk. But there were times on stage that I sat there in silence for 30 minutes, 30 seconds, not having a clue what I'm saying. Just total loss for words. And then I finally got my thought, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but you're just going out there, and I had to overcome a fear. And now I speak to whoever, and it's, I think, really helped my business. So going back to that, the chicken list, you gotta just think like, what's the worst that can come out of it? They tell you no. I don't care about the outcome. So if you don't care about the outcome, who cares? You can't get emotionally attached to that outcome. If you're going in thinking, oh my God, what if he says no? Who cares if he says no? It's his loss. You got something great. At least you can say, when you're a national consultant, financially free, and spending all as much time with your family and doing things that you want, at least you can say to that person, well, hey, I tried to show you. I tried to show it to you. At least you could say that. You who said no. You who didn't want to see it. So you really got to just face that fear and just get over it, and you'll realize it's not as bad. Because if you're thinking about the outcome, that's what's holding you back. Well, just think, what's the worst possible thing? Nobody's going to come and beat you up or anything like that. They'll tell you no. Who cares? And you move on to the next person. But there's another way, I'll get to you in a second, there's another way you could do it. There's different ways, just like talking to the cops, asking them to poke holes in it. Okay, so you're not directly asking the person, you're indirectly, but you're getting to see it. So if you have someone else on your chicken list, there's several ways you could approach somebody to make you feel more comfortable. So you can go to somebody on your chicken list, and you're not going to directly ask them. You're going to go to them and say, hey, I just started a business. John, I know you're a very successful attorney, you're a very successful business person. I really admire you and respect you for that. But you know me, I've been in law enforcement for 20 years. I just started something on the side to supplement my income. I am looking for some other people. Could you do me a favor? Can I sit down? Can I show you what I'm doing? Because maybe you know somebody else that might be interested in what I'm doing. So at least I can show you what I'm doing. So at least you know that if you ever hear anybody talking about looking for another way to make some money, you can point in my direction. So you're not directly asking that person, but you're getting them to see it. That's the whole objective. They might come back and say, wow, this is amazing, I want in. The key is to get them to see it. So there's so many different invites that I have with people. So that way you're pitching it past them. You're not directly going for them, but you are getting them to see it. They might say, great, this is awesome, I want to do it. He might say, you know what, it's not for me, but I know somebody. Or you might know somebody in 6 months. A year later, he might change his mind and say, hey, how's that energy thing going? Oh, it's doing great. Now he might come back and join. So just mix things up. So I mean, if you go after that person on your chicken list with a hard pitch, you might feel uncomfortable. So do something different that makes you feel more comfortable with doing it. But I'll tell you, it's not as bad. If you do it one time, you'll probably realize, wow, it wasn't that bad. And then you'll be able to hit more and more people on that chicken list. But just think, the only thing that's holding you back is the fear of the outcome. That's the only thing that's holding you back, or what they think of you or about the business. They say, no, who cares? Who cares what they say? You got to go into this. Nobody is going to be 100% closing ratio. There's times I went 10 for 10, but I'm never going to go 1,000 for 1,000. So I know going in, some are going to say yes, some are going to say no. So if I keep going through as many as I can, getting no's, I got a lot of yeses coming in there. So just don't get emotionally attached to it. You have?
No, I was just gonna ask you about the chicken list, because usually your chicken lists are the ones that are making pretty good money. Your doctors and stuff like that, so you just answered it actually. You may know someone, hey.
Yeah, you might know
Can
somebody.
I show you what I'm doing?
Let me show you what I'm doing.
Yeah, okay.
Compliment them.
Right.
Compliment them on something else.
Respect your opinion.
There's other ways to do it. I have a video like how to talk to a doctor. I would paint the picture first. So if I go to my doctor or something, I'll say, hey, you did a great job. I feel a lot better. Thanks for taking care of me. I might say something like, my doctor knows I own an ice cream store. I'll say, hey, I own that Carvel ice cream store, right? Yeah, I do. Hey, but besides that, I started a part-time business a couple of years ago. And the reason why I bring this up to you, Doc, is because there's a guy named, and I'll mention a doctor or an ambulance or something like that. We have a guy, Ari Benichet, who's an orthopedic spine surgeon. He's a full-time spine surgeon, does very well, but he's actually in my business, working my energy business part-time, and I'm trying to paint the picture. Because he said, okay, I'm a doctor, Mike, you're an ice cream guy. So I'm trying to get on his level. So I'm trying to tell a story of somebody else with a similar background of him as his. So you're a doctor, he's a doctor. So they're both doctors, but this guy's also in my part-time, working ambulance part-time and doing well at that as well. And then I might say, do you keep your options open? So I'm not just going in as an ice cream store owner to a doctor and trying to pitch him. I'm trying to tell a story of somebody similar to him first, paint that picture, and then say, do you keep your options open? It just makes it easier. It's going to give you a higher success ratio by doing it like that. What other questions?
Gotta know people's stories.
Yeah.
Gotta do a little homework.
Yep. The more you know about a person, the easier it is. I'll talk about something else about knowing stories. There's also personality. People have different personality types. There's really mainly 4 personality types, and I've always recruited based on people's personalities. And I went to a seminar about 2 years ago, and the person speaking went over these 4 personalities, and he gave a whole story, a whole analogy on it. The way he explained it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I've been doing for all these years, recruiting people. And now he put this all together. It was the first time I've ever heard somebody else say it. And I developed this on my own. And what he does is he teaches that there's a shark, there's a dolphin, there's a whale, and there's a sea urchin. And some people could be just one, some people could be a combination of 2 things. So if you know the person's personality, it's going to give you a huge advantage in getting them to join. This stuff is a little bit more this here is not just very simple, basic training. I know we have, you know, we have ECs, mostly RCs and SCs, you know, just a couple MCs. So this is not something I would teach a person first day in the business. I would really just teach them just to go out there and start showing a magazine, put a video in, and doing a three-way call. This is more advanced training. But this, knowing the person's personality type could really boost your recruiting through the roof. And when I explain it, you'll see what I mean. So I'll start with a sea urchin. And some people talk about this like with colors and stuff. There's 4 different colors, and they use different ways to explain it. But how I learned it, it's, and this is what I've been doing for 7 years. And this guy just put it all together. A sea urchin is somebody who is an accountant, an engineer, a financial guy. They want to know, my dad is a sea urchin. My dad needs to know every little detail, every specific on every little thing. So when we talk about something sometimes, I'm the opposite. I mean, even though I wasn't going to be an accountant like him, I am good with numbers, but I get things a lot quicker. I don't need to know every little detail. I just need to know like 1 or 2 things. He needs to know 1,000 things on it. So a sea urchin, and that's a sea urchin. So when you're sitting down with a sea urchin, they need to know exactly what does it cost, how do I make my money back in full, how do I start making a profit, how much can I make, and I'll get back to this. So that's a sea urchin. A dolphin is somebody who likes to have fun. A dolphin is somebody who likes to have a good time. There are people in Ambit that probably haven't got a consultant in years, but they're at every event, they're at every barbecue, they're at every dance party Ambit has, and they just want to have fun. And maybe they don't have other friends in life, they just want to be around people and have a good time. That's a dolphin. A whale is somebody who is a caring person, a giving person. They like doing charity work. They'll care more about a charity or an organization with somebody else than their own selves. And then the last thing is a shark. A shark is, I think most entrepreneurs, most of them are sharks. A shark is the total opposite of a sea urchin. The shark doesn't want to see every little detail and specific. The shark wants to know what it is, what does it cost, and how do I make money. So now, if you go to a shark and you give him a sea urchin approach, you're going to make that guy's head spin, and he's going to be looking to run out that door as soon as possible. If you go to a shop and you're sitting there saying, okay, well, this one customer, if you get this, is going to come on your 3rd level, it's going to pay you 15 cents, but if he's in your 2nd band, it's going to pay you 30 cents. If it's in band 5, it's going to pay you 75. If you start giving a shop every little detail and specific, their head is going to spin, and they're going to be dying to leave as soon as possible. So you got to, if you know about that person, it'll help recruit so much. I'll just give you a couple of examples. So one of the guys on my team signed up. He said to me, oh yeah, my cousin's coming. I'm going to show him the presentation. Great. So 2 cousins came. So while we were waiting for the other cousin to come, the one cousin who I was about to show the presentation told me that, oh, I just got back from Vegas last week. I was out there with my friends, we were partying, we had a great time and all this stuff. Okay, he's giving me some info about him. Now I know this guy's like a dolphin. He likes to have fun and enjoy himself. So I show the guy the video. After the video is over, he's on the fence. I like it, I'm not sure, and all this stuff. I said to him, I answered his questions and we got it going. So then I said to him, he was on the fence. Now, I don't know if he remembered or put it together that he told me that he was in Vegas having a good time a week before that, but I knew that. So once the presentation was over, I basically said to him, hey, besides making money and stuff, we have a great time. I've met so many people in this company. I travel all over now. We have all different events. We got this event called Ambition in Dallas. It's at the American Airlines Center where the Mavericks play. We got a big kickball thing at the stadium. We got a cowboy event and dancing and having a great time and partying. I'm in. I knew his personality and I knew what would trigger a positive reaction for him. Signed up right there on the spot. Right there on the spot, signed up. He was ready to leave and think about it and join. But it was me finding that he was a dolphin that talk about having fun, which says, got him to sign up right then and there. $429, pulled out a card, joined. So I knew he was a Dolphin from, pre-framing him, talking to him in the beginning. I found out some stuff about him. Complete stranger to me. He was somebody on my team's cousin, and he signed up. So that's a Dolphin. A whale. So my friend that I played football with, a few people have tried to get him into ambit over the years. So I talked to him, and he has a decent job. So I got him to see the presentation because I told him that he runs a kids football league. It's like a 9/11 flag football league he runs, and he's so passionate about it. So I said to him, he didn't see ambit for himself. He really said, I got my job and I'm okay with that, but I know he's real passionate about football and helping kids and all that stuff. So I know he's a whale. He likes helping people and he's more into organizations and programs. So I said to him, how about if there was a way I could show you how for your football program, you can give out better prizes, you can have more tournaments, give out better trophies, better prizes, you can have better uniforms, you could have lower entry fees, better donations to the charities that you do. How would you feel about that, making money for your organization, for your football program? Loved it, I'm in. So it wasn't about him making money. So I told him, your corporation could become a consultant. And basically the organization became a consultant. So by him making money for him and his family, he had no interest. But when I mentioned that your organization could become a consultant, use the organization's tax ID number, that could become a consultant, that's what got him. It wasn't about him and his family, didn't care about the money that he could make. It was about how he could help his program and his organization. That was the whale inside of him that said, hey, I'm gonna do it for this reason.
So there's no way that you would suggest putting the organization under him to him?
Yeah, no, there's different ways you could do that. So yeah.
So that would kill it or not?
Yeah, no, he can go in first, you could put the organization underneath him, and then he could build on the organization. So the organization gets paid and he gets paid on it.
But do you think that if, let's say, okay, so you sold him on the organization,
Yeah.
and that's the way that he was going in, you said, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
would it make more sense if you want to come in and then have it?
Yeah, that's the easy part.
Create a win-win.
That's the easy part. I had to just get him to want to do it first.
Right.
And just showing him money didn't get him. It was only for the organization. Doing that afterwards, I could tell him to do anything at that point afterwards, and they'll do it. This is just helping the organization grow. Sea urchins. I have a guy, James, on my team who's telling me he's an engineer. He's definitely a sea urchin. He admits it. He needs to know every detail, every specific. He said he just showed a guy the other day, and this guy's a